Hey, you guys know that there's no better place to talk about the greatest in combat sports than Knockout Radio, baby. Let's go.
All right, so technical issues, technical problems. We jumped on it. We are back live. I do apologize. We are still learning. I mean, we've only been doing this a couple weeks now. Yeah. So we're learning. We have to learn how to handle things and get done. And somehow the StreamYard deleted what we were doing. And so we had to reboot, re-go. So we're waiting on the Tan Talk Radio Network to log us in. We are still, or now again, live on YouTube. I just sent, got to talk for a minute.
Okay. So no, well, I was talking, setting everything up. I saw Steven from NUMMI kind of in the chat weight room. So, it hit the break. And as soon as we went to commercial break, something happened and it kicked us out. And so we're back live on the YouTube channel for hour number 2 of Knockout Radio. But we were just talking about how sports, and now people are starting to separate that the brain is not the same thing as your mind, right? So the brain is an organ, it's a tissue, and the more damage and trauma it takes, the more effects it has of your brain. So there's Kevin. Kevin's my boy who hooked me up over at Hydrostat. So excited to talk to Kevin. Should be just a moment before Stephen K. Scott comes on, the founder of NUMMI. And
all right, Kev's in the room.
Hey, Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
Good, sir. How are you, my friend?
Welcome to Knockout Radio. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. We got kicked out of the broadcast studio we were in.
See, that's why I like staying vintage. I like staying older, just on the FCC. And, all this new technology always seems to have problems.
Well, it does, but, as Kevin will tell us, the importance of neurofunction and speed of cognition. As you get older, you want to stay able to keep up with technology, keep up with the grandkids, keep up with, new innovations. And in my opinion, it starts with cellular health. So I'm excited to get Dr. Steven on to talk about his nanoparticles and the NUMMI and neurofunction. It's going to be amazing to watch this integrate into professional sports, youth sports, and as we speak, he's on the line with us now. Welcome to the program. Welcome to Knockout Radio, Dr. Steven Scott, the founder of NUMMI. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm not a doctor, but I played one on TV. So,
okay.
As the old ad used to say, no, I actually didn't do that. But I did film a lot of people, actors and actresses playing doctors. I used to be in Hollywood for 35 years. And I owned a company that we would look for breakthrough products, a product that could do something nothing else in the world could do. And then we'd buy the rights to it, put it on TV with celebrities. We had 93 celebrities under contract, and Total Gym with Chuck Norris and Christy Brinkley was one of those. We launched Total Gym on TV in 1996, and it's still on the air 30 years later. And it's in every training room of every professional team. And it's in over 45,000 rehab facilities now. About 45 million people a year are rehabbed here in the United States using Total Gym. So that was one. But in 2006, I met a doctor and scientist from the Mayo Clinic who introduced me to something I didn't believe in, which was a molecule called glutathione. I didn't even know about glutathione. I didn't believe in supplements. I thought it was all stuff that just turned light yellow urine into bright yellow urine. And I didn't need supplements to do that. Just hold it longer and it happened automatically. And but this particular doctor from the Mayo Clinic went into the science, went into over 100 clinicals that he had on a breakthrough that he had. So I bought the rights to that, launched a company around it, and later I met a doctor, a scientist from University of Minnesota that was world-renowned as a medicinal chemist. He was our nation's highest-ranked medical scientist called Senior Career Research Scientist. And he brought me an even greater breakthrough relating to glutathione enhancement. Glutathione's most important molecule in life It performs over 400 functions in the body. There's no life on Earth without it. No plants, trees, people, animals. Earth becomes a brown planet. But it's also little known in the medical community. My son is a heart surgeon, and when I looked at his microbiology book, there was one paragraph on something that is so critical. It governs how you go through your day, when you get sick, how sick you get, do you recover, do you die, what happens to your brain dysfunction. Dr. Oz put it this way on a show. He said, glutathione, it's the most important antioxidant you've never heard of. It's what helps protect you from the diseases you fear the most. You were mentioning concussions earlier. How fast you recover from a concussion is entirely dependent on glutathione. And so scientists, glutathione is the most studied molecule in medicine, over 196,000 published studies, more than all the other antioxidants combined. And yet it's little known and little used because glutathione breaks in the stomach. It's really hard to enhance glutathione levels, and they decline as you age, starting at the age of 20. So what we did, I put millions of dollars of my money into it, millions of dollars of some investors, and we worked on developing a true scientifically proven and valid way to bypass, for the most part, the stomach, to get it into the cell. And once we do, the impact is unbelievable. And then I'll be quiet and take questions, but to give you an idea, these people all donate their time. This is our science and medical board, and they're from Harvard, Stanford, Mayo Clinic, Cleveland Clinic, Sloan Kettering, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Texas Heart,
New York,
and on and on and on, because they've seen firsthand the unbelievable outcomes that people get. And we have had millions of servings. We're in 75 countries, and we have had no reported side effects by clinics, by doctors, or by patients, or by normal people. Athletes are breaking world records on it. We got this man, and I'll show you because you'll like him. He has 25 sports medicine clinics in Europe, this man here. And they discovered that we delay the onset of lactic acidosis for conditioned runners by 16.7%. And when I heard that, I said, is that good? And he said, because I don't know, 16%. He said, is that good? There's nothing else in the world that'll delay it by even 1%. He said, our runners, instead of going into lactic acidosis at the 12th kilometer, they're going in at the 14th kilometer. And what does that do? It improves the performance. It increases mental focus. It increases physical stamina in a way that nothing else in the world is doing. And it accelerates recovery. Well, all of our athletes have reported accelerated recovery by 60 to 70%. And even horses that we've worked with, because we do work with horses.
So Stephen, so let me highlight something there. So
you bet.
So we're a combat sport show. You know, we primarily deal with boxing, UFC, bare knuckle, PFL. And they were under strict guidelines for drug testing, similar to the Olympics with WADA. And so it's funny to me, and I always like to highlight that the things that are banned on the substance list don't nearly impact the performance or the recovery of an athlete better than some of the biohacks that are on the market that you can just take, you know, orally without regulation, and you'll get a better performing athlete and a recovering athlete better than any of the things on that banned list.
Yeah, we just got a certification from TrueShield. TrueShield is a company that was developed by a scientist who was 15 years with the NSF. And she created the Certified for Sports program for the NSF. Well, she left the NSF, created her own company. We've been to the testing facility out here in Utah. It's unbelievable, multi-million-dollar facility. And they test for 500 banned substances. NSF tests for around 350, 360. And we have just received certification on the product you held up and another
Sure.
product we sell through clinics, Numi NutraSwish, and then Swish 30 extra strength. But I want to, you mentioned concussions. I don't want to leave that for a reason.
Yes, sir.
This was one of our athletes. She was in a 100-mile, and I know your viewers can't see this, but I'm just going to describe. She was
Well,
in
they
a,
can now. We're digital now, baby. We're in
okay.
the future.
Okay. I'll take it down then. She was in a
No, we're good.
100-mile bike race. She's a marathoner and a bike racer. She was a captain in the Army. And at mile, she had started on our product 4 days earlier. This is in 2018. And she, on her first day, she broke her record on a 30-minute sprint. That was Wednesday. Thursday, she did a 35-mile trial run, broke her personal record on that, shattered it. Saturday came, she did the 100-mile bike race. First 35-mile leg, she broke her personal record on that. But here comes the amazing thing. Mile 38, she's riding with the men, and a male cyclist hits the brake. She hits him. A man in back of her hits her. She goes end over end, hits the pavement so hard it breaks the helmet, knocks her out. That's why it's cool. And her face hits the pavement at 22 miles an hour. Well, first visit in her room, she was hospitalized Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. First visitor was the neurologist, and the neurologist said, "We've diagnosed you with post-concussion traumatic disorder. You obviously took a major blow, and you're not to go into daylight for 2 weeks, no TV, no daylight, and you're going to have symptoms for 6 months to a year." And she said, "But there's one thing we don't understand. Neither the MRI nor the CAT scan showed any inflammation whatsoever, and where you took that hit should be as red as a stoplight, and it's not. And we don't understand it." Well, they didn't know she was on glutathione, and they probably don't even know that glutathione, once it gets in a cell, instantly begins to mitigate inflammation. It mitigates the inflammation by reducing the oxidative stress that causes the inflammation. So it goes right to the source, doesn't try to, block inflammation markers and so on. It just goes to the source, which is oxidative stress created by the accident, and it mitigates that. And she came home on Tuesday and never went into a dark room, never stopped watching TV. Tuesday, she was 6 hours with her 3 little boys outside, never had another symptom. Why? Because glutathione is the protector of the cell. But the problem until we came along has always been getting acceptance into the cell, because the stomach destroys the glutathione. It's a very fragile molecule. And to get around that, people have put liposomes as a covering around the glutathione, which is good. That protects it through the stomach. But the problem is when it gets to the cell, it's too big to get into the pore. Okay, no matter how hard it tries. So it doesn't enter the cell through passive diffusion. It sits on the cellular membrane and is relying on exterior energy forces to try to get it some absorption into the wall of the cell, and then some of that is may get into the cytoplasm.
Steve, I'm gonna call a timeout. Okay,
Okay,
so let me do this. I'm gonna hit a break here soon. I want to come back, and I got a couple questions, but I also want to explain. I'm a biohacker. I work in the space. I'm working on longevity and cellular health. Our sports fans, most of the people didn't understand what you just said.
Let's hit this break so we stay on track, and then you can come back with how great you are. So
and I got some questions.
Let's go hit a quick break, coming to you live from the Tan Talk Radio Network studios and locations throughout Southeast.
Glutathione, baby.
This is.
It's the word of the day.
We'll be right back.
All right, Steve, we're still on. Okay, so we're live on the YouTube. So FCC is
This is Antonio Holmes of the Pittsburgh.
All right, so Steven, I'll just say this real quick. So Randy, the great thing about Randy, he's letting me bring a lot of the biohacking and neuroscience into the conversation on our platform. Randy has the record of the longest running sports talk radio in Tampa Bay.
Wow.
He's also got the longest record of the longest UFC coverage of media since the UFC started in 1993.
Wow.
Dana White calls him the OG of the UFC. That's how historic Randy is. So a lot of Randy and his fan base, they're not going to keep up with some of the terminology like intercellular, double membrane, So a little bit easier digestion for the fan base. And then personally off air, Randy has got maybe some questions about how
Rhino
it works
cards.
with the heart.
Wow. That's Rhino cards. Conveniently low.
Like how it helps with the heart. Is it too late if you have some pre-existing heart conditions?
In the main event, it's an all-out war.
So yeah, he can bring any questions, and I'll directly and succinctly answer any questions he has. I just wanted to give a little background because everybody says their product does this, their product does that, and there's no science behind it. There's no proof. There's no clinical proof. We have all that. And it took was 17 years and millions of dollars. And we're there.
Okay. And then the last thing I was going to say was, Randy, do you have any questions yet? Or off air?
We are still streaming live. So.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay. All right. So we're coming on, and I'll put it back on the commercials.
Street in downtown Brooksville. Got bills and looking for work, but nobody is hiring? Staff Zone is, as the leading provider of commercial construction, industrial, and special event staffing throughout the Southeast, Texas, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, Kansas City, and many other locations. Staff Zone has plenty of work for you, and they need you now. Don't wait. Go to www.staffzone.com and find a branch closest to you. Work today, get paid today. That's the Staff Zone way.
Hi, this is Archie Manning, and you're talking sports with Randy Harris.
All right, we are back hanging out, like I said, all over America. Where are you located at?
I'm located in the mountains of Salt Lake City.
Okay, so Matt, you got to stick that on your board back there.
Yeah, I'll put you on the map, and we'll put you there. Also, one of our former sponsors was Bucked Up Energy out of Salt Lake City.
Yes.
They made
one
a
of
big
my
name for
favorite
themselves.
places that I've been to as in my travels over the past 30, 40 years is, I think it's called Wedding Vale.
Oh, no, you're close. Bridal Veil Falls.
Okay, all right.
Falls.
Went to it when I was covering a fight out there. That place was awesome. I love it so much.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, and they're remodeling the rec area. They're making it a lot more visitor friendly and putting, I think I heard $7 million into a revitalization of it. So it's really nice.
So my question before Matt, you jump in and do all the intelligent questions from a non-educated blah, 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 blah.
Right.
We're always talking about what's legal to take, what's not legal to take. Mm-hmm. And we've even talked about, baseball players wear that necklace thing. And is that a performance enhancer? So is anything that we're talking about not legal?
No. In fact, Truth Shield, which is now a competitor with the NSF, has now entered into agreements with the NFL, Major League Baseball, and the Olympics that their certification is acceptable. And that's a very, very, very big deal.
Sure.
It was the company and the testing protocol was created by the scientists that did it for NSF for 15 years. And so we have been, all of the ingredients in our products are GRAS ingredients. What does that mean? Generally regarded as safe by the FDA. There's no stimulant in either of these products. There's no known side effects. There's no, we're in 74 countries, had millions of servings and no reported side effects. Does that mean somebody might not get allergic to a preservative or something? Yeah, that's a possibility. We just haven't been made aware of it yet. And we work with thousands of doctors and clinics around the world. And so they're pretty quick to report if they see something negative. But in the performance area, a couple of areas that we have really, and we have UFC fighters, we have professional fighters that have been using it even before certification. It lengthens both mental and physical stamina. So if your physical stamina can get you this far,
Sure.
when you increase your glutathione levels, it's further. We've just done something. The normal half-life.
Let me just jump in for a second. For our audio listeners, yes, we are streaming on video. So you went from like a quarter to 2 inches.
Yeah.
Of the difference that you were describing for our
It's
YouTube
unbelievable. And in fact, there are trainers and professional athletes, a lot of them that are using the product now. And what they have reported back, in fact, one NFL coach can't believe the increase in his mental focus and his physical stamina. We had one trainer, he was first a trainer with the Seattle Seahawks, strength and conditioning coach, and then he went to Liberty University for 14 years to fulfill a promise. As a weightlifter, he's been an amateur weightlifter his whole life. And when he was 49 years old, he set the world record, and he was drug tested, set the world record at 804 pounds in 2008.
Well, that's all?
Huh?
Well, that's all?
10 years later, I called him, and his name's Bill Gillespie. You can look him up. Wonderful man. And how you doing, Bill? He said, not good. I said, what's wrong? He says, lifetime of weightlifting. I'm plagued by inflammation. I hurt all day, 12 to 16 hours of working a day. And then when I go to bed, I hurt so bad I don't sleep well, wake up, start a new day. He says, I've lost lean muscle. My bench is in the toilet. I said, well, what's in the toilet? He said, a little over 700 pounds. And I said, Bill, a 59-year-old benching 700 pounds is pretty good. He said, well, it's a world record, but I don't get to compete with the elite guys anymore. Well, we put him on our product, and in the next 6 months, his lean muscle increased, and his lift went to 915. And then as a 60-year-old, he went to 1,050-pound lift. And then at his retirement meet in 2022, as a 62-year-old, he successfully benched 1,129.8 pounds. That's 512 kilos. Set a new record. And we have a good chart, if I can show you it.
1,100-pound bench press.
1,129.8 world record. Tested it afterwards, and
that's insane.
But that's what happens when you reduce oxidative stress. Your mortal enemy. Why you get concussions? Why you get CTEs? Why you don't finish well? Why you take longer to recover? Why you get sick? Glutathione relates to all of those. It's the immune system is set up to protect us, but what protects the immune system? It's glutathione. And but the problem has always been getting it into the cell. So the rest of the world relies on what's called forced diffusion, where it sits on top and various pressures can get some of it into the cell. We are called passive diffusion. We get right into the pores of the cell, directly into the cytoplasm. Now that sounds no big deal. It's a huge deal. That's why all of our scientists from the Mayo Clinic, Harvard, UCLA, Stanford, they all serve for free because they've seen what a breakthrough this is. And now that we've got the approval by TrueShield, pro athletes in Europe have already been using it. And some pro athletes in the United States and mixed martial artists, martial artists, boxers, even professional boxers, world champion, heavyweight champion boxer. His sports medical doctor put him on this product. Bill Gillespie was drug tested at every meet, never shows up because it's out of the bloodstream within 70 seconds of getting in the bloodstream, goes right into the cell. So there's nothing left in the blood to test. But even if there was, glutathione is not considered to be a harmful ingredient nor performance and health.
Whoa. I never thought of that in my whole 15 years of being on this show. When they talk about blood testing, you can only test what's in the bloodstream.
Yeah,
like,
and that's
you're talking about
cultures, which most people won't take biopsies for an event.
Testing at a cellular level is a whole nother animal.
Yeah.
Wow. I never even thought about that. But yeah, so okay, let's shift gears for a second because I'm also 49. I don't feel 49. Steve.
A mere child. I'm 77, so I've got you.
But I feel 18 again. I grew my hair out. I feel youthful. I feel like I have capability. I feel like I have focus. Is that the glutathione? I mean,
it's the outcome of glutathione. Glutathione mitigates oxidative stress. Oxidative stress causes inflammation, accelerates cellular aging. So I always ask people, you want your brain to age faster or slower? How about your heart, your kidneys, and so on? All of these things. Glutathione, how does it deal with inflammation? Inflammation, you think, well, I get hit in the face and now my face inflames, so the punch caused the inflammation. No, what the punch caused, oxidative stress, more oxygen than the cell can process, and that oxidative stress produces the inflammation. What we are dealing with, we deal with the glutathione, and there's over 196,000 studies on glutathione. It mitigates the oxidative stress. This, for example, you guys can see this. I know your viewers can't, but there's oxidative stress, and oxidative stress is responsible for almost every major disease state gaining traction in the human body. There was a study in Sports Illustrated that was reported in Sports Illustrated in 2014, and the title of the article was, "Has a clumsy intern discovered the answer to the NFL's greatest problem?" And it was about this intern, brand new, day one at the National Institutes of Health. His lab director, the kid was from Stanford graduate, told him he wanted to shave a portion of the head of several lab mice so they could, that area of the scout head will be porous enough to pour some product in. And so to prep them for the test tomorrow, the kid stayed through the night and did that. Unfortunately, out of 12 mice, he concussed every mouse. So there these mice are laying knocked out in the cage, and this kid thinks, my first and last day with the NIH. And his sister had done some tests with glutathione, and he happened to have some liquid glutathione. So he picked each mouse up, poured it into the porous area. And when he woke up at 6:30 in the morning, the mice were all scurrying around the cage as if they had never been concussed. And that led to a major study that showed glutathione getting into the brain cells can mediate and modulate, lower the oxidative stress and lower the inflammation to where it's as if they hadn't been concussed. Then the article points out, problem is the human skull isn't porous. You can't get through it that easily. So how do we get it into the brain? Lots of problems with that. Well, with our product, our size of our particles are so tiny that they can cross the blood-brain barrier and get into the brain cells and alleviate that inflammation.
So now I know you have the Prima Mist, the topical misting spray, the nanoparticles. So for wound care, for cuts, lacerations, let's say a fighter's coming out of a ring, can they start treating topically and orally in the back of an arena to start the recovery process of oxidative stress?
Instantly. In fact, if you'll notice this gal, the plastic surgeon said that area of wounds, the road rash, the scars, the abrasions, was going to take 5 weeks to clear. 5 weeks. After 5 days of topical application, it was completely cleared, and no scars. And they said that she would need plastic surgery for the scars. So yes, wound healing, we're seeing it reduced. In fact, there's even been a published article in the National Journal of Surgery about glutathione and wound healing, and that was a former product that I had the patents on, and it cut the healing time by 50%. Well, this formula is much more advanced, that I could show you wounds that would just drop you to the floor, because you see.
Let me jump in real quick. I just got a text message of a question, and the question is the product okay for people that are older and that are taking other medications?
Yes, there are currently no contra-introductions. We have lots of old people taking it. This kid is 77 years old. Now, because I've been on glutathione since I was 58 in different forms, I haven't suffered a lot of the things that most people suffer. My eyes today are the same prescription on my contacts that was my prescription at the age of 58 in 2006. So yeah, old people can. We have 90-year-old. In fact, you guys just Sean, can you find the 94-year-old guy? I'll show you the power of this thing. Yeah, real quick.
I don't think it's the
final few minutes here talking to Mr. Scott. So,
Stephen, I always tell people, if you have cognitive function and you have mobility, and that mobility is without pain, you have freedom. Like, it's the holy grail.
This is a 94-year-old who's been on the product at that point for 8 months. And he says, I love the new look, because he looks 30 years younger.
Yeah,
but
he does.
Said, more than the look, I feel like the guy on the left, not the guy on the right. Wow. And I will tell you that my energy level, I was a director in Hollywood for 35 years. The energy I required, then I worked with, I did over 1,000 projects, and my energy level today is right where it was when I was 35. And so
amazing,
incredible.
It is. And the nice thing is there's no stimulant. So you don't have to, we did tests with the United States Air Force, and in that test, it was a 4-month test for security teams that have 12-hour duty calls. And these guys live on the high energy products that are loaded with sugar and caffeine. And as a result, they have higher incidence of PTSDs, higher incidence of anxiety. They have crashes where they don't have the same level of alertness, and they have sleep disorders. And without any prompting, they took these members of a F-35 base security team. They said, try this anytime you start it in the morning, but anytime you feel fatigued during your duty call, swish it. You swish it like a mouthwash for 30 to 60 seconds and see what happens. Well, they all ended up doing great. They were off all of their energy products except their coffee by the 4th day with no prompting. They no longer needed them. And
so, Steve, would you say if someone was coming off of Diet Coke, they were trying to get rid of aspartame in their diet, they have a fixation on it, could they switch to this safely?
Who might you be talking about? Who are
I'm
you
talking about
talking about?
Randy. I'm talking about you, Randy. We're gonna get you.
You guys obviously haven't heard of my friend Dr. Pepper. Now, I don't drink it because I need it. I just love the taste of Dr. Pepper with 0 sugar and cream soda. But I only do 1 can a day. I don't have to drink it throughout the day. My wife's best friend drinks Coke like there's no tomorrow, and in my mind, she's going to be in real trouble, even though she's not even 60 years old yet. Not just from the aspartame, but the sugar, the increase in weight, so on. All of that's playing against her pretty bad.
We are basically out of time. Love to get you back on. It's been a great conversation. How can people get information? How can they research the product, or more importantly, how do they purchase? How do they get the product?
They can go onto our website at numi.com, but they also if Matt, how are you guys doing that? Are you set up to take orders personally, or
not yet? But I'm signing up with Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin and I are going to be on a team with Dr. Leva, the Queen of Biohacking. So we're going to have a down channel here in the Tampa area.
Good. And it's worldwide. The nice thing is, if you're on our team and it doesn't cost anything to join, then anybody hearing this broadcast or seeing a replay of it anywhere in the world just about can get the product through you and Kevin. And so rather than me give a web, I see you're giving it. Numi.com is where you can read about the product. You can see the medical team and so on. But and you can click on their resumes and see our scientists are real scientists, aren't guys that pretend to be scientists. And it's amazing the people that have been drawn for this. His biggest breakthrough in life.
Before we're out of time, Stephen, I just want to say I've been on it for 2 months now. Kevin sent me a care package. I had the spray, the red bottle, the yellow with the caffeine in it. So if people are trying to get off of caffeine, the yellow one's a great transition all the way until, a different formula. But I feel amazing. I feel youthful. I feel energetic. I feel 18. So thank you for your innovation. Thank you for bringing it to market. And thank you for letting our fan base hear about it.
Absolutely.
You bet. That yellow bottle is called Neuro, and it's a neurotropic, and that does have 9 milligrams of caffeine. Our NutraSwish and Swish 30 has no caffeine. That is a different target area. We want the brain to be fully functional and alert. So athletes will take our Swish product and that same times, and it get just, but Swish by itself will give you a higher degree of mental alertness and focus and stamina. So.
Sounds good. I might have to jump on the bandwagon. Mr. Scott, thank you very much for your time, and let's talk again real soon.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you, Stephen. Thanks.
Good stuff there.
Thanks for letting me do this, Randy. Thanks for letting me bring some of my.
It's fantastic. It's been
because awesome. I want you guys to benefit. I want you to take the knowledge and apply it. I want Ed to apply it. Get rid of that bucked up energy drink with the sucralose and the energy and the caffeine and heart racing and running a risk of heart attacks. Like I want you guys to be around forever, man. I don't want to bury you guys. I want you guys part of this forever. You guys are my people, and I love you.
Oh God. Oh.
But it's big, though. I mean, look, it's going to start coming into contact sports at all ages.
What I wanted to ask, and I just felt it wasn't the right time, is I'd love to know. I think this network would like to know. The longest running UFC, blah, 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 would like to know what UFC fighters are using it.
Oh, yeah.
As silly as it sounds, and they don't necessarily need credibility, but they need credibility. Sure. As people are hesitant, if you're listening to Knockout Radio, then you understand Dr. Jeff Davidson and the medical team and what they do and blah, 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 blah. So if they've approved it, you need to be able to prove that they approved it.
Sure.
And under HIPAA violations, obviously I can't ask my friends because by law they can't tell me. It's up to those particular fighters,
Do supplements fall in that same category?
It depends. It depends on what's in the supplement. It's all, it's all the material, it's all everything that's in those supplements as to whether you can legally or not legally. And that's why I've always asked, including Bucked Up, because there's some Bucked Up that you can't drink.
Right.
And they've said that. The owners, when they came on early, they said that. And that's why when I talk to a lot of the MMA fighters and the UFC fighters, do you take this to whether it's Jeff or whether either Jeff, all from the medical side to make sure, don't take somebody's word for it. Go to somebody that's higher in where you are, like at the UFC, to make sure that all that's legal. I'd like to know what UFC athlete's taking it. I'd like to know what NFL, agent player is taking it. I mean, it doesn't stop you or me from taking it.
And I learned that it's all about what's in the bloodstream, not at the cellular level.
Well, that's interesting too, and we'll talk about
Yeah.
that off the air first before we talk about it on the air. 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. Sean Merriman, former San Diego Charger, heavily involved in the combat space as well. We're going to talk some NFL with Sean Merriman in about 16 minutes. We'll be right back.